right, are we live? Are we live? Are we live? All right, perfect. It looks like we are live and everything is all good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday. I'd like to welcome you all to the Heat Check live beat review show hosted right here on YouTube. Also, multi-streaming to Twitch at the moment. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Desmond A. I'm a producer. I've been producing for over 12 years here now. Have music placed on different networks like Bravo, E-Television, Sci-Fi, various documentaries, and also some very talented independent recording artists internationally online, and also, of course, right here in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So shout out to you, all the independent recording artists. You are very special to me. So you might be wondering, what is the Heat Check? So I'm going to go ahead and lay some ground rules. So I already said the Heat Check is a live beat review show that we host here weekly. But, you know, what are some of the rules? How exactly does it go? So every week, you have from the end of the stream until 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to go ahead and submit your beats for the free submissions. But if you're not able to submit a free submission, we also have the option for the VIP skip the line. If you're on YouTube, you're going to see that pinned in the comments. So if you want to skip the line, get your beats heard, you have that option to do so. But if you don't want to do that, of course, you can do the free submission that is open at the end of the stream. So just lay that all out so everything is clear, so you understand what's going on. Also, here at the Heat Check, there's no snapping, there's no roasting, there's no trying to get off some weird, corny, or funny jokes. This isn't Comedy Central. This isn't a place for you to work out your jokes or your comedy routine. We're here to help producers elevate, sword sharpens sword, steel sharpens steel. It's kind of like being at a boxing gym and your boxing coach tells you to throw your jab, put your weight behind your jab. They're not gonna say, man, that jab was whack, that jab sucks, you look stupid so throwing that jab. They're gonna say, hey, snap your body a little bit, use your hips to throw your jab. They're gonna give you real actionable steps, real actionable tips to help you in your journey. And that's the same thing that we do here on the Heat Check. Real actionable tips. So if you hear something that you don't like, hey, that melody doesn't sound too good, maybe try working on the melody. Maybe try working on that snare. I would change that kick out. Give real actionable steps so the producers can grow. That's what we're about right here on the Heat Check. So just want to go ahead and get that out the way. Also, I'll play about a minute and a half of each beat. VIP skip the line. I'll play your entire beat, but every other submission play about a minute and a half, and that's going to give us the full feel of the music. So don't forget to submit your beats and get your music heard right here on the Heat Check. Also, you see right here up top in the ticker, make sure you go to DesmondASounds.com to get your free loops, free FL Studio Patcher plugins. Man, I got some crazy FL Studio Patcher plugins, if I say so myself, and free guides, everything you need to help you level up in your music production journey. So we got everything up here for you. All right. And shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. All right. All right. Everybody in the chat is chopping up game, networking. So guys, if you're in the chat, you like each other's sound, there's something about another producer that you like their beats, you like everything, hit them up, network. This is not about me. This is about you guys improving. I don't mind promotion in the chat if you're here in the Heat Check and you submit beats and things of that nature. That's all good with me. I'm not going to snap on y'all. It's all good. We're here to grow. This is like personal training. You know what I'm saying? All right. So enough yapping. Let's go ahead and get to the beats. What's going on in chat? We got JVN World, Millie Beats, Hector, The Introvert. We got WHCRS. We got everybody here in the building. So shout out to you. All right. Okay. Send over 2 beats. Okay. Wait a minute. It looks like we got a VIP skip the line. Let's see here. Y'all send over 2 beats. I'm recording YouTube. I want to do music challenges. Oh, okay. WHCRS. Looks like we got a VIP skip the line music competition. I've actually done beat battles before, been on stage and everything. So you've came to the right place for some feedback on that. So let's take a look here. Let's take a look here. Look here. All right. Perfect. Yep, I got your VIP skip the line. Let me go ahead and download these and get these pulled up here for you. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and load this up here in FL Studio. And while I do that, guys, make sure that you also check out my Made in the Studio podcast. You can check it out right here on my YouTube page. Just click on the podcast tab. You're going to see some interviews that I've done with Grammy-nominated producers, multi-platinum producers. They're just out there giving some good game, helping you guys grow in your music production journey as well. So you guys are getting all kinds of great game, all kinds of value just by checking this out, checking out the show, checking out the podcast. I am just here to give you guys value. Okay. So I got the VIP skip the line pulled up here right now. All right. So it looks like we're going to jump off the show with WHCRS. Okay. So it looks like he wants me to select which beat is my favorite. Okay. So I'm going to listen to both entire beats since this is VIP skip the line, then go ahead and give my feedback. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic and take a listen. So let's do that. All right. So that was WHCRS with that one was new project. Now, question, WHCRS. Do you want constructive feedback on that beat? Do you want like my tips and feedback on how to improve that beat? Or do you just simply want me to pick which one was my favorite? So let me know which one did you want? Did you want to just tell you which one was my favorite? Or do you want me to give feedback on each individual beat? Let me know. Let me know, please. Because I'm always taking notes. So let me know, let me know, let me know. Feedback and everything. Okay, perfect. So you want double the value. Okay. I say double the value in all my reaction videos. I've gotten into the habit of saying that. So if this is a music competition that you're doing with other producers, one of the first things that I noticed about the beat is there really wasn't much change. It kind of felt like we were going in one direction the entire time. I never really felt like a mood switch. And a part of any type of music competition or beat competition is there's a showmanship factor. There's an entertainment factor that's supposed to kind of take people by surprise. And I felt like that beat was kind of just going in one direction. I didn't hear like the bass drop and then the kick hit. I didn't really hear this, by the way, minus the next one. Okay, so there's a producer. Okay, so I guess this might be a production duo or something. I'm reading your chat, WHCRS. So this beat was by somebody named Oblivious. Okay, so back to the feedback on this first beat. It felt like it needed more excitement and tension. Things kind of felt like it was all one thing. So let's try to work on that, or Oblivious, if you're watching this feedback as well. Let's try to work on that, not having everything just so predictable. Also, the kick was really soft. We need to make sure that kick has more impact. The kick is really going to give you like more chest. It really gives you more punch. It's part of, the urban music, this current urban genres, hip hop, everything like that. The drums are a really important factor, and the fact that kick was soft is really going to throw off a lot of people. So let's also work on the kick. Another piece of feedback on that beat, a question that I had for myself was, what sound is the star of that beat? It kind of felt like there were multiple sounds. Even the bass was competing to be the focal or the main, quote unquote, main character of the beat. And there wasn't really a clear winner. So it kind of made things sound a little bit mushy, a little bit soft, a little bit just not clear. It's almost like watching a movie and the colors are kind of fuzzy. It's like we need to kind of pull things together so then we have clarity. So figure out what sound is going to be the star of the beat and have the other sounds complement it and support it. So that way we have real direction. So those are my notes for that beat. Just work on those few things. It's definitely going to help you out in your music production journey. All right, and we got another beat here. Next one. All right, VIP skip the line. We got WHCRS. We're going to go ahead and check out this beat. Let me mute my mic and take a listen. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, that was WHCRS. All right, all right, all right. So shout out to you, man. Yes, that one was definitely beat battle. You know, that gave me flashbacks, and the energy gave me flashbacks. Um, so as far as constructive feedback on the beat, well, first, good beat, and it's formatted for a battle. I've done a couple of reviews of the new production reality show, Turn Your Producer Up, and I noticed a lot of the producers on that show didn't format their beats for a battle. It's almost like they were just kicking it in the studio with their homies, and this was formatted for a battle. So shout out to you. No disrespect to any of the producers, none of the producers on the Turn Your Producer Up show. Their beats are good. Just you gotta respect the format of a battle. It's like a freestyle battle. Anyway, to the main point. Um, so the first thing that I noticed was the bass sound that you're using in that beat has this real, it's like a real weird like modulation sound. It's like instead of like a boo boo boo, it had like a boo boo boo. It's like kind of shaky. So if you can get like I even feel like if you can get like a standard drill bass sample, standard drill bass sound, you could possibly use the Spins 808, but there's this weird modulation in it that's just it threw me off a little bit. So if we can get a cleaner 808, a cleaner bass that doesn't have that weird little wobbly thing, weird modulation wobbly thing, I think that'll help out a lot. Um, Also, you did a really good job, you know, controlling the energy, doing that first switch up definitely helped out a lot. The thing is, after I heard the first switch up and we got to transition kind of back into the main sound of the beat or the main arrangement of the beat that was there in the first part, um, you could pull that off. This, how am I gonna put this? When we came back to the that main arrangement of the beat after the switch up, I felt like it would be cool if you kept that the same with those little stutters. If you're gonna be seen, I know during battles and competitions, showmanship is definitely a part of it. I don't believe you're gonna be able to show yourself, but that part would be good if you can and move your arms and stuff like that. I remember doing like the air keys and stuff like that. You have to do showmanship, but the reason I said that is because when we switch back to that main beat sound, the main melody and everything of the beat after the first switch up, it kind of threw me off. So kind of make that transition back into the main beat sound after the switch up. Just make it a bit smoother. Just, I don't know, maybe you need to do a little bit of silence and then have it come in. But something about that transition back in threw me off a little bit. I think you can still get by if you leave it as is, but I just feel like we could do a little something to it to just really slam dunk it. If you could do a little something, you'll totally slam dunk it to that part. Um, yeah, and that was it, man. Those are the two pieces of feedback I have for that beat. So, fix that bass, just switch out that bass sample that you have there, and then also watch the transition after we leave the switch up. Watch that transition. So, yes. All right, perfect. So yeah, I'm so glad that I could be of assistance, man. Music competitions, beat competitions are a lot of fun. Some people feel like they're too good for them. Some people be like, I'm not competing on no beats. Let's compete at the bank account, or let's compete. Like, man, this is a part of the craft. So shout out to you for even getting into it, man. I know it's it could be nerve wracking, but it's fun at the same time. So you're gonna feel stronger. Which beat do I think is better, by the way? Man, the second beat. You fishing for compliments, bruh? Come on, man. The second beat. The second beat. So, yeah. Obviously, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, man. So thank you so much for submitting that beat, man. Feel Still feel free to come back to the Heat Check. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. A lot of cool stuff here on my YouTube channel. And yeah, man. Thanks you for setting off this episode of the Heat Check, man. I'll be glad to help you out. And please feel free to Brad, I needed it for a video. I feel you, man. So yeah, feel free to also send me an email of the competition after you're done. Just I'd be happy to check you out, see what happens, see how the competition goes, and even see what the competition's about. So yeah, you can see my email address on my YouTube channel. Just contact at DesmondABeats.com. So yeah, you could hit me up there and email it to me if you feel like it. You can definitely do that. So I appreciate you. All right. Yes, I will be glad to see you. Okay, moving forward, let's go ahead and get to our main section here. So we've got our first VIP submission. So let's go ahead and start from the top. First submission here we have today is Millie Beats with Loneliness. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Miller, you made it.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Millie Beats with Loneliness. Thank you so much for your submission this week. Now, for that beat, I'm definitely hearing improvements. I'm hearing things feel a lot tighter musically. I feel like things are much more musically sound, musically coherent. I'm not hearing a lot of like clashing and things of that nature. One thing I was hearing a little bit in that vocal sample that you had that let's kind of watch. It felt like it was a little pitchy, just a little bit. That could be me, because since I've worked with vocalists and things like that, it's just a little bit off. And I mean just a little bit off. So in your DAW with that vocal sample, just kind of listen to the piano sound and let that be the driver, because that piano sound is going to be in key because it's a piano sound. It's not detuned. And what you want to do is try to tune that vocal sample to just sound more musically coherent with the piano. So listen to the piano and then be like, okay, how can I get this vocal sample to kind of marry the piano a little bit more. And I mean, it's gonna be like the fine tuning knob, like in your DAW, whatever DAW that you use. Don't go to the big pitch knob where you're going all over the place. You're gonna lose focus. Like just do the little sense where it's like sense. Just move it a little bit, and as you move it, you're gonna start to notice it's gonna sound better. Then you can even A and B it by like hitting undo, listen to what it sounded like before, kind of tightening up the pitch of the vocal sample, and then redo, hit the redo button, and then hear it where it sounds better. And you're gonna notice a difference. So that's gonna make things sound more musically connected. Other than that, here's the thing. I was hearing the piano and I was hearing the bells. The piano, I didn't really feel, it didn't give me too much of a stock feel, but I'm still sensing a little bit of stockness in it. So it definitely is not, I would say a recording artist probably won't notice, and they'll be able to write a song to it. But as a producer, I am hearing that I want like a slightly better piano sound, piano VST if you can find one, and to use that. But I still think, and the reason that I kind of hesitated to bring that up is because you're making music for a recording artist, and I don't think a recording artist that's gonna push them away from the beat too much. So let's, if you can, let's go ahead and do that. So yes. All right. So shout out to you. All right, and it looks like we got another submission of the night here. Millie Beats, Talking to My Soul. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Miller, you made it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Millie Beats with Talking to My Soul. All right, so Millie Beats. With that beat, first that the piano sound came in a little loud. It's almost like I wanted the volume to be pulled down just a couple dBs on that piano. And also possibly just a light compressor, not too much compression, just a little bit, like a medium attack. We just want to kind of control that attack when it comes in, just to make sure that it is balanced with the tail end of that piano sound. So you could do a light compression, don't do too much. Your goal would be, okay, how can I use this compressor to make the piano just sound more balanced, so it's not this huge spike in the beginning, then it just starts to get a little too quiet at the end. Let's balance it out with the compressor. Also, as the beat went on, I noticed that hard piano that you added, that piano you were adding, some of those notes were out of key, and it kind of threw off the vibe of the beat. So watch that. If you're having some issues having some of your piano sounds and things like that in key, especially when you already have the foundations there, the bass was in key, you have the piano, everything sounds good with the main piano, you know, and you had that little whistle going and everything was in key there. So if you're gonna add like that hard piano, which you could possibly even mute in this beat, you know, try singing it out loud. Dun, dun, dun. Like sing it. Like, and then as you sing it out loud, hit the keys, hit the keyboard. That's one way that I'm able to like create melodies and beats is singing things out loud. And there I'm like, okay, I'm searching for what I just sang out loud here on my keyboard. That just makes things a lot easier to lock in. Other than that, I would say continue to rap on your beats out loud. Sing to your beats out loud because that's just going to help you clear out any type of additional sounds that may not need to be there, or you could pull them back with your volume slider. Maybe a sound needs to be more felt than heard instead of trying to get so many things to kind of fit in the beat just because you can do it. So if you rap or sing out loud, it's a lot easier to recognize that that voice needs some space. So that's another tip that I'll give you for that beat. So shout out to you, Millie Beats. All right, check out the chat here. My jump scare from there we go. Okay, thanks for the feedback. Oh, that's right, Millie Beats. You use FL Studio Mobile. Wow, man! Shout out to you, man. Making beats on the mobile device. So that just goes to show, man. If you guys really want it, you really want to put out beats, you're gonna find a way. How do you make money from beat making? This is from Peruvian Pele. How do you make money from beat making? I just want to make enough to buy gear. Yes, that's a great question. And I'm more than likely going to start making content on this on my YouTube channel. It's how to make money selling beats or just working with recording artists. One thing I would do, it's not Peruvian. I said your name wrong. I apologize. One thing I would do is kind of reframe how you're thinking. How do I make money from beat making? The question I would ask is how do I get beats to recording artists who have a budget, who can benefit from using my beats to create a song that they like? So kind of switch it from you focus to them focus, so that way you don't fall for certain things. You don't fall for recording artists kind of leading you on, even falling for like people trying to take money from you to give you certain types of information. So to answer your question more directly, you want to just build your brand, get out there, have people listen to your beats. Like, what are some different ways that you're connecting with recording artists? Are you going in different recording studios? Are you hitting people up on Instagram? Are you running Facebook ads? You know, all these different things are ways that you need to get people to actually hear what you do. And then as people hear what you do, that starts the actual sales process, which is communicating with the artist, answering any questions that they have, them feeling like you're trustworthy, you providing an easy way for them to get your beats. Most people use things like BeatStars or different similar platforms to that. So make the sales process easy after you get that pool of recording artists who actually wants to buy your music that you make. Like, have you ever sold a beat before? I don't know how to say. I'm just gonna call you P. P. Have you ever sold beats before? You're welcome, Millie Beats. You're welcome, Millie Beats. Thank you, the introvert. I actually sold a beat yesterday. So yeah. What's going on, Tony? Shout out to you, Tony. I sold a beat yesterday and I connected with the I'm not gonna give too much away because I want to put everything in the format of a video so you guys can get the full context because I don't want to just ramble. You're welcome. You're welcome, P. You are welcome. Yes. Yes, there's a lot of aspects of it. Selling beats. I actually sold. I used to, you guys want to know what's funny? One of my first beats that I sold actually had a burn on a CD, and I sold it on Craigslist. That goes to show you how long I've been doing this. You guys probably don't even know what Craigslist is. So yes, that was quite a while ago. But yes. All right. Enough of that. But yes, I'm going to start making content on how you guys can connect with artists, sell beats, and things of that nature. So make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. But let's go ahead and keep moving forward here. Next beat we have here is Hector with Rage. So let's go ahead and check out this beat by Hector. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic and go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Hector with Rage. So shout out to you, Hector, and thank you so much for submitting on the heat check. So Hector, the first thing with that beat was the contrast between the beginning and when the actual beat hit was too much. It was too dramatic, and it kind of just it didn't really hit in a hard musical kind of way. It's more of like a surprise, but it kind of felt like it almost was like just way too much. I had to reach for my volume knob. So if we're gonna do contrast to kind of pull people in and then hit them with the impact, we kind of want to do it in a way that still has more pleasant musical elements in it. That was just way too harsh, way too aggressive right out the blue. It's like almost watching like a movie, and then it's like a couple talking, like whispering. Then before you know it, it's just like loud explosions and like 5 people talking at the same time. It's like, okay, that wasn't really a smooth transition. Hopefully that was a good analogy for you guys. Also, that beat had a lot of digital distortion. It was really harsh. It's really, brittle on the top. It feels like it was just pushed all the way up into the red. And that harshness also added to the feeling that contrast was just too much between the intro and when the actual beat dropped. Also, another piece of feedback I have is similar to what I gave some of the earlier producers is they're not really being a real focus. I kind of felt like that string sound, I kind of felt like that was the main focus. That was the main character of the beat. But then you had also other sounds on it, so it felt kind of like cluttered. So, you kind of want to figure out what's going to be the star or the stars of the show, so that way things don't start feeling like things are fighting for musical stardom. You kind of know what that main 1, 2, or 3 elements are, and I just wasn't quite finding that in the beat. So yeah, shout out to you, Hector. All right, all right. Thought of that after submitting. All right, shout out to you. All right, so P, you tried selling beats, but no sales so far. Okay. Now, P, do you also post like free YouTube type beats online? Do you do that? Because my question is, do you have artists who want free versions of your beats? Like if you post beats online, do people comment? Do people try to download your beats and record to them even without your permission? Things of that nature. Have you gotten to that point, P? Let me know and I'll check back in with you as we go through the other submissions. Shout out to you, P. And also, of course, shout out to you, Hector. Thank you so much for submitting on the Heat Check. Moving forward, we have The Introvert with How Did This Happen? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was The Introvert with How Did This Happen? Man, that beat brought back memories, man. That beat brought back memories, man, from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, man. So a lot of the people out there, would listen to that type of music, just give me some flashbacks. Shout out to Dallas-Fort Worth, Arlington, Texas, everyone out there in North Texas, you know what I mean? So yeah, that beat, that's a good beat. Now, this is what I'm hearing on that beat. I'm hearing that I would really like for you to get some type of songwriter on that beat. Please, if it's a R&B songwriter, pop songwriter, please get on Instagram, BeatStars, even YouTube. You can watch different YouTube videos and see people's email. Please find a songwriter and have someone create a song to that beat, man. That's a sound that's really taken over, kind of in the pop music lane and things of that nature. People opening up to the international and Latin markets, and, people are listening to all kinds of music. So if you can get a songwriter on there, I think that could take this from a good beat to a great song, which is the goal of, a lot of producers. So please, please, please do not ignore this advice. Instagram, if they got their email posted, just DM them, comment on what they got going on. Hey, what's going on? I got this beat. I really think you could write something to this. Please get on it, man. You can make this beat into a song and it could go places. As far as feedback, one piece of feedback, and this is just a flavor thing that I have. It's a style thing that I was hearing, and this is, you absolutely do not have to do this. This is just something that I would do, especially if this is my session and you had the track outs and things like that, and we were in Pro Tools. I would probably do this. I probably add a little bit of saturation, a little bit of, pleasing distortion to that bass. I just want to hit it right there in the mid range, just right there in the mid range. I just want to just touch it with a little bit of distortion, just a little bit of saturation. You don't even have to hear it too much, just feel it right in that mid range. But again, you don't have to do it. It's going to be perfectly fine without it. That's just a style thing that I would actually do. So, yes. You're welcome, The Introvert. You are welcome, man. Get on it, get on it, get on it. You'll never know what places it could take you, man. Yes. So shout out to you. Shout out to you. And it doesn't have to be a songwriter who writes that style of music. It could be pop, R&B, Afrobeat. I was actually hearing R&B. So, if somebody says, I'm an R&B songwriter, I've written for this person, I've written for that person, you don't really make this style of music, but a lot of people want to cross over so they can enter different markets. So you could pitch this to a R&B or pop writer as, hey, you can explore different markets. Bad Bunny's performing at the Super Bowl, so I thought it'd be cool if you could tap in on different markets because I like your style. So you're mixing in quality music with also business opportunity. Those two together, yeah, you're going to catch them with that. Just don't be afraid to be left on red. A lot of people do that, leave you on red. Don't take it personally. Just keep going, keep shooting your shot. So shout out to you, The Introvert. Shout out to you. All right. And we have another submission today here by The Introvert. This one was called En La Disco. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Right, ladies and gentlemen, that was The Introvert with En La Disco. So shout out to you, The Introvert, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. All right, so The Introvert, I'm noticing that you have a sound, you have a lane that you're carving out, which is good because that also helps with the branding. That means when somebody thinks of something, they're going to think about you, which is really good to have people associate things with your sound. They could be out at a party with their friends. Somebody could be singing in the car. whatever. They're at their day job and they're just singing out loud. They're like, oh, this would sound good with that style. Oh, the introvert makes that style. Let me hit him up, or let me check out his BeatStars or his SoundCloud. Okay, so that's a really good thing to carve out your own lane, and it takes people a while to do that, man, to really find their sound. So shout out to you, which tells me you've been doing this for a while. One piece of feedback on that beat. That kick was a little bit aggressive. Like the top end was just a little bit too aggressive. Almost felt like we're doing like a G Unit 50 Cent song from back in the day where they had those real hard kicks and things like that. And with the texture with the rest of the beat, it was just a bit much. You could do something like a little bit of high-end shelving on that kick just to soften it up a little bit. That top-end texture just make it a little softer. I think you like that aggression, but you like that aggressive sound, so we don't want to get rid of that. We just want to kind of make the kick match the texture of the rest of the beat in a way that's more musical. So let's just take off a little bit of that top end, or if you pull it down just a little bit, like maybe 0.3 dB, negative 0.3 dB on your DAW, just see if it kind of softens it up just a little bit so it's more musical. Other than that, that was another good beat. It felt musical, had groove, had impact. So yeah, that's really my main piece of feedback would be that kick. So shout out to you, the introvert. Shout out to you. All right, let's check out the chat here. Never thought about that. Yes, you are welcome. What happens when somebody writes to it? Reach out to the artist. So here's the thing with songwriters. And this is why I mentioned trying to find songwriters with like some type of placements in their bio, especially on Instagram. Because what's going to happen is as the songwriter writes the song, you guys have made a song. So it's in the songwriter's best interest to pitch the song so the song can get sold to an artist. So the songwriter is more than likely going to be the one to go out there and try to pitch it, because a lot of times songwriters don't get any type of upfront fees and things of that nature. So every song they make is like almost like a stock. It's an investment. They have to go out and get it to an artist so the value can raise. So of course you don't want to you want to totally put it on the songwriter's hands. Definitely if you can network with legitimate people in the business, if you can, once again, I always mention Instagram. After you guys make those songs, if you could find someone associated with somebody on Instagram. One of my Made in the Studio podcast guests, David S., he did a song for Lil Wayne and Rich the Kid. He said he sold a beat to, or he got in contact with somebody in the industry through their barber. So it just goes to show, if you're creative and you work those networks, you can find someone to help get it, in the right hands. But songwriters, it's in their best interest to work hard to get the songs in the right hands. So yes. Start creating. What's alive? As far as editing, I was actually the introvert. I was thinking about that before I started live streaming. I was like, but do people really want to see that? So yeah, that gives me another content idea. Yes, so I'm going to put that on my to-do list to make content about making content as a producer to help you guys grow their brand. So yes. Start creating my brand on YouTube videos and Instagram Reels. Yeah, as far as editing, just to give you a quick gem, the introvert on editing content, which, man, it's a whole thing. It's in its own editing. But I use something called CapCut. I actually saw some producer mention that CapCut is like the FL Studio of video editing, because it's so intuitive and it's so relatively easy to learn. So yes, I would definitely start with CapCut as far as editing, watch a couple tutorials and go from there. But yeah, I will definitely put that on my to-do list to make content about making content for producers. So yes, that is also on my to-do list. Have quite a few things on my to-do list, but you know, the more the merrier. That just means I always have something to do when I'm locked in to create content. So yes, you are welcome to Introvert and all the other producers checking this out as well. There's also some gems you can use to help you in your music production journey. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. You guys motivate me to show up here each and every week. So let's go ahead and move forward with the next producer of the night. We have Purple Prosperity. All right, with this beat called Big Manners. All right, so let's go ahead and play this beat. I'm gonna mute my mic and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Purple Prosperity on
All right, shout out to you, Purple Prosperity, with Big Manners. All right, hard, dark, trap type beat. Shout out to you. All right, so Purple Prosperity. I know what direction you are going in, and I get what you were trying to accomplish. I can see the vision. I feel you, and let me sit up so you guys can see me. I can feel you, and I can see the vision. The thing is, I was feeling all the arpeggiators and everything like that. But the thing is, there's so much noise not noise, but so much activity going on musically, what we needed was more contrast between the music and the drums. I feel like we need to pull down all that active music, just pull that down more so we can have the kick and the snare just snapping and smacking us in the face, hitting us in the chest. And that way the arpeggiated sounds, all those synths are going, but we're feeling the drums hit us in the chest really hard. So it's almost like the things were almost too balanced. The music was loud and active, and then some of the kick and the snare got drowned out a little bit when we can make this nice, beautiful contrast. The contrast is we have all the synth going on, but it's tucked down a little bit. And what's really getting us, what's cooking us, is that kick and that snare. And then the artist's voice can live right there, right on top, right there in the middle, just sandwiched between the kick, the drums, and the music. I just felt like that the arpeggiated sounds was just too loud in comparison. Because another point I had was after you did that drop where we just had the hard kick and the snare, that I felt like we were almost there. I felt that drop. The sound went out. We had the kick. We had the snare. You almost had the slam dunk, but it was just the kick and the snare was just too soft. It's like I wanted to just get pulled into the beat and just I wanted to give the stank face. I was close, but it's just that snare was too far back. The kick was good, the bass was good, but the arpeggiators just it threw off the contrast. So we want to make sure that we pay attention to how loud those really active sounds are, pull them back so we can just hit people. Have that kick and the snare rocking, mute the arpeggiators and just get the kick and the snare right and the bass right, and then slowly pull in those sounds. Slowly pull them in. But make sure that kick and that snare is the star. Make sure those things are sitting right, just right there. Because, man, it's like, come on now. Like, this is a hard, dark trap beat. If I'm playing this in the studio with the big speakers, some engineers, studios that I know, I want that thing to just hit us in the chest. So watch the contrast. Watch the contrast. And that's something that happens to a lot of producers, though. Sometimes I question. I think this happens sometimes. Sometimes you guys kind of mix your beats at a loud level, so it's hard for you to hear contrast. Everything sounds good loud, and then when you pull it down, it's almost like, oh, the fun is gone. But once you pull things down, pull the volume down a little bit, you can start to hear things. You can start to hear mistakes when the volume is at a just quote unquote medium level. So I like to go somewhat quiet, then I like to go medium, then I like to crank it loud so I can feel all the energy, pull it back down medium as far as the volume on my interface, just the total sound on my interface. And then I'm listening for mistakes. Is there certain sounds that are poking out too much? So if you did that in your studio, you probably would have heard that, okay, it feels like the kick and the snare really isn't hitting the way that it should. So that's another technique, is to use your volume knob. Everything, if you hear everything loud when you're mixing, it could be difficult to hear contrast. So yes, shout out to you, Purple Prosperity. If you just correct that, man, you're good to go. You're good to go. Just fix that and you could just go ahead and post this back up and, you know, you'll be good to rock out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving forward, we have JVN World with Fumble. So I'm going to go ahead and play this song. Then I'm going to mute my mic. Then I'm going to go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was JVN World with Fumble. Shout out to you, JVN World, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, JVN World, I I think I mentioned before, I do like the fact that you leave space in your beats for an artist to write to, which is something that I definitely enjoy. Constructive feedback. The first thing was the chord progression. It was just like almost like two chords, and the two chords really didn't really pull me in musically. It was cool. It was laid back, almost kind of was getting like somewhat Smoker vibes from it. Kind of chill, laid back Smoker music. But I still wanted just a little something to the chord progression, just something a little more, something that just tells me like I should pay attention. It's just almost, the chord progression was almost just a little bit too safe. So like that second chord that you played, maybe just try changing one of the notes. Maybe try changing the third or the fifth in the note in your DAW, if you're using like FL Studio or any DAW in the piano roll. Just try to make that second chord more interesting, evoke more emotions with that second chord. And once you do, I think you're gonna notice that it feels more like it has more character to it. That's what I want. I just feel like that the chord progression was just slightly too basic. We just need to just push it forward a little bit. Give me a little more emotion in there. The other piece of feedback I have is the kick felt a little bit too loud. Sometimes what happens is producers will make the beat, have everything going, the 808 and everything, and feel like they don't have too much space to add the kick. And then they can kind of push the kick up really loud. So everything is going, and then the kick may be like real high on the meter as opposed to the rest of the sounds in the mixer. And then sometimes the kick could feel over exaggerated because the producer is just trying to work in the kick where there's like not too much space. So that happens sometimes. I think that may have happened in this case. So if you can dial back that kick just a little bit, so that way it doesn't feel like out of balance. It's just out of balance. So let's go ahead and do that. Make the chords more interesting. Fix that kick. We should be good to go. So continue to make that spacious music that you make. Just, work in those tips. So, all right. You are welcome, JVN World. You are welcome, The Introvert. All right. So let's go ahead and move forward. We have Neptune Blue with Cinematic Bass. Shout out to Neptune Blue. It's Neptune Blue in the chat. He typically taps in. He might be out there moving and grooving, making plays on a Friday night. But shout out to you, Neptune Blue. We're going to go ahead and play this beat here, Cinematic Bass, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Neptune Blue with Cinematic Bass. Thank you so much for submitting today on the Heat Check. So, Neptune Blue. For that beat, one, of course, I'm still hearing the hacked off low end on there. For the producers who don't know, I believe Neptune Blue is still it's producing on laptops, so it's difficult to hear all the sounds. Now, one of the first things I heard when the beat first came on, I kind of felt like we had too much activity. It's like you had a good foundation, but you kept adding things just because you felt like you could add things. And I've been there before. You're making a beat. You're like, do I add this? Do I not? Do I add that? Do I not? Okay, I can fit these two sounds on top of the beat and it sounds good to me, but should I keep both of them? You know, I kind of felt like I felt that exploration of sound going on there. So I can almost hear you debating with yourself on what sounds to add to the beat because you could add multiple sounds. So always remember that less is more, especially if you're working to get this beat to a recording artist. So, you know, as producers, we do really focus. We do really lock in when it comes time to cooking up beats. And sometimes we can kind of lose focus of our ultimate goal. What's the ultimate outcome that we're looking to make with what we're creating? And that's a great foundation for a great song for a recording artist to record on top of. So with that in mind, it's easier when you think about the recording artist to know when to dial it back. Okay, let me mumble some Jay-Z lyrics to this. Let me mumble some Rick Ross lyrics or Lil Durk lyrics, and let me see if I can fit my voice on here. Okay, let me start from the top. Let me play the beat. Okay. Oh, nah, I don't need that sound. Let me go ahead and hit mute. That sound was a little too loud. Let me go ahead and pull it down a little bit. I just need to feel that sound. I don't really need to hear it. Okay. Now I feel like a smooth path. I don't feel like I've added too much just to add it. So, you know, definitely please do that. And I think that's going to help you in that sound selection kind of internal debate thing that I can hear going on. I can hear the drums. I can hear all the panning, really good automation that you're doing there with the drums. It's definitely going to keep the listener engaged. I felt like in certain parts, whenever you were adding multiple sounds, I felt like some of those sounds were a little bit out of key. And once again, the tip that I gave is going to help you pull things in key. Mumbling, and as you mumble, you can even start to sing a little bit to yourself. Ooh, that sound didn't sound right. Let me go ahead and mute that. Okay, now I'm adding this sound too frequently instead of ding 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 ding. I just need ding ding ding. So little things like that you're gonna pick up as you think of things from the song creation aspect. Also, another thing I was hearing in the beat was a little bit of pumping. It almost sounds like, I don't know, if something was hitting the red of your meter, of your mixer a little bit too hard. If it was, it can cause that kind of pumping, super compression, like the compressor's trying to grab something. Either that or there was some type of limiter, some type of compressor going on. I felt there was a certain part in the beat as it progressed to the later parts that I could hear like some type of compressor working really hard. I don't quite know what that was, but whatever that was, if there's some type of plug-in or something, you know, lighten it up. I felt like almost like the release of the compressor or limiter was working too hard, and it caused like a pumping sound. So yeah, those are all the pieces of feedback I had for that beat. So shout out to you, Neptune Blue. Oh, Neptune Blue is in the chat. So shout out to you, Neptune Blue. I see you. All right. Shout out to you, the introvert. We get a chance to check out my music channel. So, what you think? Thanks for listening in advance. Now, are you submitting to the heat check? Beats to the heat check? Because it sounds like you're just jumping in here, and you know we're having a picnic, and then you just walking in, and you're like, you know, hey man, you know, let me get a plate. You know, you're not trying to bring no bread. You know, you're not trying to bring no juice. You ain't like, man, I got these water bottles. You know, if I give y'all these water bottles, you know, can y'all check out? You know what I'm saying? Can y'all check out my barbershop? You just coming here taking like so. Hoyle, you know, I know we all on the grind, but come on, bro. That's just like, it's just like, y'all check me out. Come on, man. Like, give to receive, man. Give to receive. Trying to get free promo, man. All right. But if I do start a show for recording artists, then I will be sure to do a community post in the future. So we'll start to possibly do that next year, but we'll see. All right. Exactly. Cousin Pee-wee, Neptune Blue. All right. Moving forward, the next submission of the day, we got Neptune Blue with Mysterious Ways. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Neptune Blue with Mysterious Ways. Shout out to you, Neptune Blue. All right. Now, for that beat was interesting. This is what I was hearing in that beat. I felt like the music, the instrumentation that you had was telling me one thing, and then the drums were telling me something else. It's almost like the music was telling me King of New York. It was telling me Scarface. It was telling me, one of those other cool movies, Godfather and things like that. It was giving me that vibe, and then the drums were giving me kind of like party vibes, almost like I wanted to get up and move. So that contrast was a bit too much. Sometimes you can blend the best of both worlds and make something fun with that, or make something interesting. I felt like the drums were just a little bit too groovy, too funky, too loose, too musical, too just like it had a little bit too much of a party aesthetic to it. And I feel like we kind of want to get more into that serious Godfather, Casino. We want that feel, that theme, that Mob Deep. I was hearing like Mob Deep type of instrumentation, and then just that contrast was just kind of threw me off. You can maybe even add just like standard like trap drums. You know, Nipsey Hussle sometimes would have like Mike and Keys. Sometimes they do like somewhat serious instrumentations, and they have like those snappy trap drums on top of it. So you can go like the snappy trap drum route, or you can go the Justice League Bink route with the, you know, the Rick Ross live drum sound, or, you know, you could do something like that just to match the texture of the instrumentation that you have. So yes, if you just change the drums on that one, you should be good to go, because that was the main thing. It's like, yeah, so if you could do that. And yeah, those are the only notes that I had for that beat. So shout out to you, Neptune Blue. Okay, so Neptune, you were trying to blend the two. Okay, I got you. It's just a little too jiggy. It's just a little bit, I want to get up and groove with like the serious chord progression and texture. So, all right. So shout out to you. Heist movie with Wu-Tang. So yeah, you were painting a picture with the instrumentation, man, which is good. It's definitely easy to write to whenever people have, you know, those kind of easy to catch on themes. So yes. All right. So we are going to keep the heat check going. All right. So let me go ahead and pull up the next beat here. All right. Looks like our brother was trying to spam the chat, so I had to get him up out of here, unfortunately. You know, we was having fun with you, brother, man. Just doing too much. All right. So, moving forward, we have Dancing Maine. Shout out to Dancing Maine. We got Dancing Maine with LOL Superman. All right. Now, Dancing Maine, do you ever show up in the live chat, Dancing Maine? I think for some reason I feel like Dancing Maine is in a different country. I'm not quite sure. I mean, excuse me, not a different country, a country outside of the U.S. So I have a feeling Dancing Maine is somewhere international. So shout out to you, Dancing Maine. Leave a comment in the playback, Dancing Maine. You know, shout out to you. You are a regular here. All right, we got Dancing Maine with LOL Superman. So let's go ahead and mute my mic, play this music, and go ahead and give my feedback. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dancing Maine with LOL Superman. Shout out to you, Dancing Maine. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Dancing Maine, with that beat, I was getting a lot of, you took me back, man. You taking me back to my youth, man. I was getting like 3-6 Mafia, Juicy J, Hypnotized Minds, you know, back when people bought CDs, the actual CDs was there, man. You was giving me those vibes, that Memphis, classic Memphis vibe. But one thing with it, I felt like I wanted you to push it up, like just like a couple of BPM, just push the tempo up, maybe like 2 to 3, just to give me a little bit more bounce. I just want to bounce a little bit more to a beat like that. So just do like 2 to 3 BPM right there in the tempo in your DAW. You're going to notice that you bounce a bit more to it. Also, the kick pattern, whenever we got to the verse part, I felt like I wanted, give me more kicks. You had a good bounce in the hook part with the kick pattern, but the kick pattern in the verse part, I feel like we want, just give me more kicks in there. I felt like you spaced it out a little bit too much. Just make sure you can catch a bounce when you get back to the verse part, and we don't just totally lose it whenever we exit the hook part. So let's do that. Let's keep a bounce going. Let's, have Glorilla on it with, whoever else, different Memphis artists. Here's another tip I'm going to give you guys. So if you're on things like Instagram and places like that, the mistake that a lot of people make is they try to go straight for the star. They hit the main star's booking email. That's why sometimes you see they'll put like, no beats, do not send beats. They'll do like a job opening for something, an internship, and they'll say, do not send beats. And that's because producers think that that's an opening to, get their shine on and, take opportunity when it presents itself. But one thing you can actually do is, instead of aiming for the main star in the crew, whether it's Glorilla or Moneybagg Yo or any of these other people, I'm just using Memphis because we just had a Memphis vibe type of beat. You can aim for the new signee, aim for the person, look at who they're following, and look who's look at who the main star is following. Is there somebody named Lil whoever, Lil Cash, Lil so-and-so? Click on their Instagram and see what they got going on. Are they're in the studio with their stories? Maybe they just have 3 posts on their Instagram story, and it's kind of boring. But when you look at 3 posts on the main Instagram feed, but when you go to their stories, you see they're in the studio. You see they're at rehearsal with the main person. Sometimes it's not always just like a right there. The opportunity is right there. Sometimes you got to follow those people. And then kind of, you're kind of like a lion, you know what I mean? You're not a lion, or more like not a lion or a cheetah. What's a tiger? You're like stalking, you're waiting, you're seeing. It's not always going to be right there. Sometimes you got to follow those people and wait, then see. Then it's like, dang, I'm tired as hell from the studio. You'll see that in their stories or something. Then bam, you just jump in, you pounce on that opportunity. The big stars, they may not look at that, but that new signee, the person who's going on tour with them, you get that beat to them, before you know it, they finally, they're going to get the hookup from them. Then before you know it, you got a so-and-so placement. You got a Moneybagg Yo placement, a Yo Gotti placement, a whoever placement, because you kind of waited and then you pounced on the opportunity. So that's just another gem. All right. Yep, Crunchy Black had that Crunchy Black vibe. Neptune, thank you. You are welcome. All right. So moving forward, another submission from Dancing Maine. When you're lonely and he's not around. I feel like Dancing Maine be telling on himself. What you doing over there, Dancing Maine? You dirty macking? What's going on, man? I don't know. But shout out to you, Dancing Maine. Let's go ahead and play this beat. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic and then give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, that was the second submission of the night by Dancing Main. Shout out to you, Dancing Main. Thank you so much for submitting on the Heat Check. Now, Dancing Main, with that beat, I see you're in your R&B bag. Did I inspire you? Nah, I'm messing around with you, man. But yeah, shout out to you, Dancing Main. The first thing, okay, so let me just start from the top. So the intro, I like the auto panning that you did. I kind of feel like the auto panning was a bit too, you let the auto panning go a little bit too hard. That can kind of take away the feeling. We just want motion with that like R&B vibe, just motion. So let it auto pan, but don't let it auto pan so far. It's just it's just a little weird. Just make the auto panning more subtle as far as how wide you're allowing it to go and whatever plugin that you're using for the auto panning. It just went a little bit too wide. Also, I like, you did the sample song with the contrasting with the beat hitting and things like that. I felt like the sample when it was singing and when everything was, revealed in the sample, it was real. It had a lot of nice, pretty high end. Then when we went to the beat itself, it just felt like I wanted the contrast to feel a little bit different. It's almost like it was too exciting, and then when the beat hit, it was a little too soft. It was a little too subdued. So one thing you could do is let's just pull down the volume of the sample hook part. Just pull it down so that way I don't feel the contrast when I lose all that pretty top end from the sample. I don't feel like it doesn't throw off my energy. Just pull it down a little bit, pull down the volume, and then let it get into the verse part. You could do a little bit of shelving after you pull down the volume. You could do a little bit of shelving with the EQ. Just to soften it up a little bit so it's not so sparkly and then we feel like we lose something whenever the verse hits. So you can soften it up a little bit. When I say shelf, just use the EQ. Don't do hard cutting and pull away all the top end. Just give that little shelf. If you guys don't know the shelf, I'll show you here. I make a lot of assumption here, guys. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, please don't be afraid to ask me. I've had few producers ask me like, what does that mean? So I apologize. So this is a shelf right here. This is an EQ shelf. So we can use that to soften up the top end a little bit. So in a lot of production videos, you're going to notice a lot of producers just totally scoop out and take off all the top end like this. And there's definitely a place for that, especially if you're doing that old school Drake, quote unquote, underwater thing. That's cool. And sometimes this can work, but sometimes you just want to do a little bit. You just want things to be a little softer. You don't want to totally eliminate all the frequencies. I just want to soften it up. Let me just do the shelf here. Let me just soften it up a little bit like that. And that's the thing that you might want to try Dancing Main to kind of help with that balance of the contrast there. So hopefully that was helpful, and shout out to you, Dancing Main. Please continue to submit right here on the Heat Check. So let's go ahead and take a look at the chat here. Yes, down this kind of cause room for improvement. This is actually few teaks. Absolutely. Okay, we got Tafara here in the chat. Go ahead, and he's giving his feedback as well. All right, and it looks like we got Tafara here is up next. So right on time. Shout out to you, Tafara. So we're going to go ahead and play this beat. We have Tafara with It's Over. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. gentlemen, that was Tafara with It's Over. Shout out to you, Tafara, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. So, Tafara, the first thing I noticed about that beat, the intro was still too long. We want to get into the beat quicker. With those long intros, if it's not really pulling us into it, it's not really building a lot of anticipation, then it could just be extra. You know, let's cut down that intro so we can get straight into the drop. Not instantly into the drop. Let's just make a shorter intro. It was just too long. And then when the actual beat came on, that's when I was getting a real good groove from that. And I want to get there a bit quicker, especially if you're working with a songwriter, working with a recording artist. A big habit they have is just saying next. Okay, let me hear that. Next. Okay, let me hear that. I don't know. Next. You know, that's the short attention span of a lot of recording artists, and I wouldn't want them to say next before they can actually get into the groove of the beat like I was able to after things started to ramp up. Also, the bass, I like the bass. I'm not referencing, I'm talking about the sub bass. I like the sub bass. It was good. It might be just a touch too much for the genre. You can even take it down just like negative 0.3 dB. I think it'll still have enough presence. It'll still have enough impact. It'll still have enough body. I'm almost getting like almost so much low end, like we're kind of getting into the hip hop realm. And this style is, you know, they still have a lot of good low end, but it just felt a little bit too exaggerated. So let's pull it down like negative 0.3 dB on the sub bass that you had going, and you should be good. But other than that, man, I really like, especially when that live bass guitar came in, really good. Definitely pulled me into the music. You left a lot of space for a songwriter. So yes, after you cut down the intro, please. And this is the thing when I give this advice to you guys, you know, if you're contacting like songwriters and things like that, kind of try to find a pattern to like follow up, because that's the thing that I've had the habit of doing myself, is kind of just totally moving on. So if you are reaching out to songwriters, Tafara and the other producers that I told to reach out to songwriters, don't be afraid to set up like some type of alert, email alert for yourself or app alert, whatever kind of phone you're using, to tell you to follow up with certain songwriters. Like, hey, did you get my email? You don't want to be annoying, like maybe a week, 2 weeks, a month, however long you want to do it, just so, you know, you're ensuring that they're hearing your music. And if they like a beat, you can just send them another beat. So you kind of keeping the engine and the consistency going. So shout out to you. Shout out to you. All right. I have to head out for the night. All right. You are welcome. The Introvert. You are very much welcome. You are very much welcome. Thank you so much for submitting on the Heat Check. And you are welcome, Tafara. And let's move on to your next beat here. All right. So moving forward, we have Tafara with Maria or Mariah. Maria. I'm going to say Maria. All right. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Tafara with Maria. Shout out to you, Tafara. Thank you so much for submitting on the Heat Check. Now, Tafara, you know, I'm noticing that you have a consistent sound. You definitely have locked in your genre. So I'm wondering if you've gone through the process of consistently posting your beats on YouTube, like Afrobeat type beat, or you know, Tim's Burna Boy type beat, you know, consistently posting your beats online on YouTube type beats, and possibly just adding in like a link to a BeatStars or your beat store. I think you can really start to cultivate a following with the consistency that you have. So if you're able to do that, whatever frequency that you guys can keep up with, then definitely do that, whether it's every other week, once a week. Some producers post every day, you know, whatever, once a month, twice a month, whatever works for you. Consistently post on things like YouTube so you can build that following, and you never know who's going to search for themselves. So, you know, you just posting certain beats, an indie artist or a bigger artist can search for themselves and possibly find you. I know the chances of that are kind of, you know, iffy, but still you never know. And then also independent artists who aspire to be like the bigger artists are going to search for that. So hopefully, Tafara, you're doing this. And if not, I encourage you to post consistently on YouTube with type beats and build that following and build that fan base, because I feel like you could definitely do that. If you're not already doing that, I would definitely do that. Now, for the specific feedback on this beat had a great groove, plenty of space for songwriting. The only thing I was hearing in this beat, there's something was going on with the bass. Almost felt like it went a little too low. When we went low, it was almost too low. Now, I don't know if we possibly want to try to get it from the lowest bass, try to get it up a little bit, get it where it still works musically and it's just not hitting so low. Maybe try transposing it up an octave. That might sound a little weird, but I'm not quite sure yet. I think if I could see the piano roll in your DAW, that'd help me out. But the bottom line is I feel like the low bass got a little too low, and it was a little strange. So if you could possibly try changing that low, get the bass from getting too low musically, or you can possibly try experimenting with a different bass patch, just a different bass sample in your musical collection of sounds, and just seeing if it works just a little bit better. I felt like the bass got a little too low. And really that was it. That was the only feedback that I had for that beat, was just the bass on it. And that's pretty much it, man. Yeah, keep going, keep grinding, keep cooking up great beats, and keep submitting on the Heat Check. Yeah, all right. Let's see. The brass, I was tired, damn. The bass, I was tired, damn. I shouldn't have been. I am yet to. I'm waiting to get you out of your seat first, LOL. Yeah, it was too low, the bass. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for submitting, Tafara. I'll be glad to keep helping you in your music production journey. So yeah. All right, guys. It's another Friday, another great Friday, another great Heat Check show. I want to give a special shout out to all the producers who submitted, man. You guys are growing, you are getting better, you are showing up consistently, and I am proud of every single one of you guys. Keep growing, keep cooking up, and keep making that fire, man. Of course, I'm going to be opening up the form and making a community post right after the stream so you guys can submit for next Friday's show. Also, make sure you guys go to DesmondASounds.com to get everything you need in your music production journey. FL Studio Patcher plugins, free guides, free loops, all kinds of stuff, man. Speaking of Afrobeat, man, I got some great free Afrobeat guitar loops on DesmondASounds.com. Make sure you guys check that out. All right, XOOT. Next Friday, we are closing the Heat Check for today. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to make the post, and I want to see you next Friday, XOOT. I'm going to be on the lookout for you, man. All right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, another great show, another great Friday. Y'all be safe out there, and I will see you next Friday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Heat Check. Y'all be safe. I'll see y'all next time.